In this segment, we're going to talk about water. Water is a critically important element of your backpacking trip. When you leave on the first day, you're probably going to leave with your all your water containers full, but then after that, you're going to have to actually get water along the whatever trail you're backpacking on. So let's talk first about water containers. For us, we carry typically, we've historically carried a side bottle. This is something maybe you'd want to drink out of for a meal, and then your Nalgene that holds 2 liters. And in terms of how to carry your Nalgene, typically what we do, you've got your strap on your backpack. You take this off, run this through the strap, and just let it sit on your side. It can be a little bit challenging for kids because it'll bang on your side, but that's the way I carry mine. You have to figure out how exactly you want to carry your Nalgene water bottle. Something new we're trying, my wife tried last year because she drinks a lot of water, is we're actually going to carry a Camelback bladder. This holds I think about 2 liters as well, and so you can actually stick this in the top of your backpack, and then just drink out of it that way. So that's something new. Me and my boys are going to be hiking here in about a month, and we're going to take these. We'll probably continue to take the other containers as well. As far as containers are concerned, the last one I want to mention, we have this giant bladder. Everybody may not need this, but here's the thing. You're going to be going down to a water source that could be 100 feet, 100 yards, quarter of a mile away from your camp, and you don't want to have to go down there very often. So typically you're going to, when you get into camp at night, your campsites are generally going to be right there where the water source is, and it will tell you generally where the water source is. So you'll go to the water source, and so that we don't have to make too many trips, we actually fill up this bladder, which holds a lot of water, and it takes a while to fill it up, but then we carry it back to our campsite. We hang it up usually in a tree, and we have water for the rest of the evening and into the next morning. Now normally if we're thirsty and drink a lot, we still have to go back in the morning and fill up. Every morning when you leave campsite, you want to make sure that all of your water containers are full. We have run into a couple instances where the water source is not near the campsite, where you run across the water source maybe a mile before the campsite. That's challenging and certainly not ideal, but there are an occasion where you're not going to have a water source, and if you're looking at maps that tell you where the water sources are, you should know that in advance. So you don't ever want to get into a campsite and not know if there's going to be water there or not. If there's not water, you're going to have to keep hiking because everybody in the family is going to be thirsty. You can't cook without water, and once or twice we've kind of run out of water before we got to the water source. It was not fun. For us, when we've had to run across a water source before we get to the campsite, we'll fill up everything, and on 2 occasions we've actually filled this up. Now let me tell you, it's miserable. We've actually added our own strap to this to where you can kind of carry it over your back like this. But when this thing's full of water, it's got to weigh 30-40 pounds, it feels like, and it sloshes around. And let me tell you, it is a difficult task to carry this thing very far, especially if you're going up a hill. We've done it on a couple of occasions, and you may have to do that and be prepared for that if your water source is not near your campsite. All right, so as I said, typically it's going to be a stream. It's going to be a little well where there's water. It's very typically where we backpack on the Appalachian Trail. It's very well marked where the water source is. And you may be backpacking somewhere where there's better, clearer water sources. But typically, if you're going to be backpacking on a trail, there's going to be a map that's going to tell you exactly where the water is going to be, and you want to be absolutely clear about that. So, and I mean, I have to tell you, sometimes it's been way down a muddy hill, and it's just a bear to get that water, all the water back up the hill to the top. And so typically it's for us, the way our family works is usually me and the boys go to the water source. The girls work on cooking while we're taking care of the water. It's exhausting in the evening when you're tired and you're thirsty and you're having to go get water, but that's just a part of what you signed up for to backpack. Now, the one thing you want to think about is how to treat the water. Now, the water is probably fine 99% of the time, and when you're out there with people that backpack a lot of them don't use anything. They just drink straight from the stream. If you're backpacking as a family, though, that's probably a risk you don't want to take. And so there's several options. The easiest option would be some type of drops or pills, chlorine you can put in your water. We've never gone that direction just because it makes the water taste funny. Kids don't want that, and we don't want that either. So you want to look at some sort of filtration system to take with you. Now, this is what we've used for 5 years. This is a Katahdin Hiker Pro. Pretty simple system that we keep in our backpack. This right here actually just goes down into the water, and then this goes on top of your bottle right here, and then you just have to pump the water through. And let me tell you, this is an exhausting process when you're at the end of a day and you're leaning over a creek. You don't have a nice stool like this, and you're having to pump water. For our family of 6, I mean, it can take sometimes a half hour to an hour just to pump all the water we need to pump. Fortunately, my boys have gotten big enough to where they can help me pump, and so we're just taking turns, usually right down by wherever the water source is, pumping the water. So that's just a part of what you have to do. Again, at night and usually in the morning, pump some additional water. And there's been an occasion we'll run across the water source midday and go ahead and refill then as well. So hopefully that's helpful in thinking about how you're going to handle water.